Well, Game 5 is in the books. The Raptors do not avenge their opening night loss to the New Orleans Pelicans. They give up 9 points in the final minute and 8. 120-116 is the final. The Raptors now 1-4 to start the season. Welcome to Raptors Night Cap. Jack Armstrong, Paul Jones, Sherman Hamilton, and myself, Randy Urban. How you doing tonight, fellas?
Hanging in there, Randy.
Doing great, buddy.
All right, Jack, I'm going to start with you. I thought there was some good fight there in the fourth, but would you say some late game execution issues creeping up again?
Well, I agree with you. I think there was a tremendous amount of fight. You know, the feistiness of Kyle Lowry and Fred VanVleet. Chris Boucher played his heart out. I love the effort. And I would say this. I mean, if you look at the number of good open shots the Raptors got again tonight, I think there's a lot of good opportunities right now offensively that the Raptors are clearly leaving on the floor that they got to, just improve on. And I think secondly, fouling people was a big problem. Now, New Orleans didn't shoot the ball great from the line, but they seem to be like a half step late on help and recovery and different things like that. Again, I love the compete level. I just think that they're getting good shots. They got to make them. And, I think the margin of error this year is a little slimmer, and there's a little more pressure on each guy to make a play or two. And sometimes it works out, sometimes it doesn't.
Sure, I'll go to you next. The Raptors got down by 11, I think, in that fourth, battle all the way back, take the lead. Why are they not able to hold on to that lead and close it out?
Well, it's a big question. I think that, what we saw with them coming back is familiar to see them make that kind of push, that kind of effort, that kind of hustle. Mm-hmm. It made you think that they were finding something about themselves in that game. And I think that when you talk about not being able to get over the hump, well, kind of to Jack's point, guys have to make certain plays. They had a stretch of possessions where they had 3 turnovers in a row. You can't have that when you're making a comeback. It takes the steam out of what you're trying to do. And the Raptors struggled in that area. And that's something, and, we can talk about this and harp on it, but when you have a guy like Marc Gasol, you have a guy like Serge Ibaka who can make a play. It doesn't have to be a score, but make a pass, make a defensive play, something like that can stabilize you. You don't have that right now. So they're operating entirely from the perimeter. And it's difficult to consistently manufacture plays on the perimeter like that when you don't have the balance of bigger bodies that can make those kind of late game deciding plays.
Jonesy, second quarter, the Raptors made a concerted effort to kind of mix it up in the paint a little bit. I thought they were relying a little too much on the 3 early on. Once they went inside, they kind of got their offense going. What did you see that you liked in that second quarter?
Well, that's exactly what I saw, Randy. I mean, the Raptors are one of the top teams, the top team in attempting threes, and they're near the bottom in every other offensive category, and it really reeks of live by the 3 and die by the 3. And I saw that change in the second quarter. But just to the point that Sherman and Jack were making, New Orleans shot a record 38 free throws in the fourth quarter. I'm double checking something that somebody sent me here, and I really had to look at it again. Sorry. The 28 free throws attempted by New Orleans in the fourth quarter are the most by any team in a quarter since March of 2018, when the Rockets took 29 in the fourth against OKC. And to Jack's point, you got to play good defense without fouling. Sherman was talking about it. You saw the fight in there. And again, we go back to it. Things that we're not used to seeing. This team was number 1 in the NBA in winning percentage in games that were 1 possession with a minute to go. They're 0-2 right now. And, the fouling is an issue, or the free throws are an issue. New Orleans, 28 free throws in the fourth quarter. Toronto was 26 of 27 for the game. So you something has to change there. Mm-hmm. And to the point about the defense, we saw them double teaming, and they weren't rotating out. Give New Orleans credit, that second, third pass out of the double team that was making people open. But those are things that Toronto, with a new group getting together, takes time to figure out. And unfortunately, right now, it's costing them games as they figure it out.
Speaking of new group, they're having to rely on their bench a little bit, and they're below average in points from their bench going forward, Jack. But it seems like we're starting to get some consistent play from Chris Boucher. I feel like Nick Nurse is pretty comfortable now putting a guy like him out there in any situation. 24 points, 5 rebounds. I thought he was rolling really well to the basket tonight.
The reason why you're comfortable putting him out there is he plays his tail off, and he makes mistakes of aggression because he cares. So I'll live and die with a guy like that. And what I like, Sherman Jonesy from him, is he's making his free throws. He's being more responsible as a teammate to the other 4 guys in terms of the types of shots he takes. And I think he's starting to get the message a little more about when to go for a block and when not. And that's still going to take some time. But I think he knows he's going to play now, guys. And I think he's kind of settling down and getting calm and saying, okay, I'm going to get my touches. I'm going to get my time. And I like what I'm seeing. I'm really impressed.
Sure, Fred VanVleet, this is 3 games now out of 5. He's had 25 or more. I know he had 21 the first half, kind of struggled a little bit in that second half. But this is a guy that averaged 17 points per game. It's pretty evident that he could average 20 this season.
Yeah, it's very possible, and he might have to if this team's going to have some success. I think more of the scoring load is going to be put on him and Kyle to produce more points. He had a great first half. He was unbelievable in that first half. And, we talk about adjustments. They adjusted well to Fred in the second half and really took away some of the things that he was getting early in the game. Having said that, this is where you need this complete team to come into play. You need guys to step up. Pascal Siakam just had one of those games that you just don't want to have coming back from what he came back from. And he just struggled in every area. Kyle's going to stay in the fight. He's going to make plays. He's going to do things to help you win. And he did during that stretch that they were trying to get back into it. But you need consistency from the Norm Powells, from the OG Anunobys. You need other guys to make plays consistently. And when they bottled up Fred, nobody else really stepped up and took the pressure off of him to help out on the scoring load. But, yeah, he could average 20, but I would argue that he might have to average 20 if the games keep on going like this. He probably is going to have to score more points.
Jonesy, let's give the Pelicans a little bit of credit here. This is no slouch of a team. They're 4-2 to start the year. They are talented up and down this roster.
Well, Stan Van Gundy's put his fingerprints on this team. I mean, you look at this team last year, they were number 1 in pace, and it was run up and down, and their defense consisted of when the other team misses a shot, we'll get the ball. And you're seeing a very different group. I mean, they hold Toronto, if my math is correct, to 16 of 42 in the second half. And that's the Riley tree. That's the Van Gundy thing. Play the defense. They couple of shot clock violations late in the game. They held the Raptors out of getting into some of the stuff that they wanted to on the offensive end. And then they put the ball in Brandon Ingram's hands, and you're going to double team him. We're going to pass it. We're going to swing it. I thought Zion was good. He had a good burst at the start of the third quarter, but it's funny that I don't see him as the main guy. He's a good accessory right now, but Brandon Ingram's a guy that's really driving the ship. And again, you're right, Randy. This is not your uncle's New Orleans Pelicans. Stan Van Gundy has changed this thing.
Ran to tag what Jonesy said. Just 2 quick things. Number 1, I don't think Bledsoe and Ball are in the same category as Lowry and VanVleet, but it's great having 2 point guards on the floor all the time. That helps them. And Ingram right now, and I said this opening night, Ingram is what the Raptor fans hope Siakam can become again. And right now, Siakam's struggling. And if the Raptors can get Siakam back on track and have him look somewhat like a Brandon Ingram, they'll be fine. They'll settle down. They'll be fine.
Yeah, Sherm, let's talk about Siakam's game tonight. Not the response that I think everybody was wanting. Probably not the response that he was wanting. Had some trouble getting into foul trouble. Just 10 points tonight. But for me, I still think that there's a lot of good things there. I feel like if he just makes 2 dribbles into the lane and elevates, that's very hard to stop. I find that he's just maybe making it too hard on himself at times. Is that what you're seeing?
Maybe a bit of that, Herbs. I think he could be overthinking it a little bit. I mean, a couple of times he got into the paint early and tried the 2-foot shovel pass when he was 3 feet from the rim instead of just floating it up and putting it up. So, yeah, he's probably overthinking it. But again, to Jack's point about Chris Boucher making mistakes of energy and effort, Pascal's trying to do something positive. He's trying to share the basketball, but you want him to take a look at the rim. He's going to have to score. He's right there in the paint. I'd rather him shoot a little floater, a little jump hook, whatever he is. He's 8 feet from the basket. Get that shot up. So I thought he was overthinking situations early in the game and trying to make plays that weren't there early in the game. And that just kind of consistently forced him into situations where he gets stuck. He maybe get a turnover, just make a play that wasn't available. And that kind of, to me, derailed his whole momentum throughout the game. And then, as you said, the foul trouble really impacted his ability, number one, stay on the floor, and number two, to play aggressively, to play with energy and to attack all the time. Those fouls really mess up your flow in a game. And I just thought Pascal had one of those bad games that you don't want to have after coming off of being benched based on what happened. It was just not what you wanted to see from Pascal.
Jack, we got about 50 seconds to go. I want to get to Jonesy real quick, too. But what do they have to do to turn it around against Boston?
Well, I think, number one, they got to play with a lot more energy on the defensive end and not foul, and keep people in front of them and make people shoot over the top with a hand in the face. Simple. And two, I would say, as much as we talk about getting to the rim, which is important, they're getting a lot of wide open shots. Got to make some of them. Randy, I've seen you play. I think you can make some of those.
Whoa.
Well, maybe I'm pushing a little bit. But well, maybe I am. I'm trying to be nice. He's the host of the show, sir. But no, seriously, they're getting a lot of really good looks. They're generating shots. They got to make some more.
I appreciate that, guys. Time to say goodbye on that note. Raptors got the Celtics Monday night.